Perkenalkan, nama saya M. Fajar Setiawan dengan NPM 243510079. Video kali ini saya buat bertujuan untuk menyelesaikan tugas mata kuliah pemrograman web yang diampu oleh Bapak dosen M. Rizky Fadila, STMNG. Yang mana tugasnya itu adalah saya akan pelajari secara mandiri Express JavaScript melalui video tutorial dari YouTube yang telah disediakan oleh Bapak M. Rizky Fadila, STMNG. Baiklah, langsung saja ke pembelajarannya.
Express is one of the most important library for backend development in Node.js. You know why? Because it makes your backend code so easy to develop. Also, many big companies like Netflix and Uber use Express in their backend. And another big reason is it is a part of MERN and main stack. This E represent as express.js. So here is the Express.js crash course in which you will learn how to create RESTful APIs like GET, POST, PUT, PATCH and DELETE. In short, all CRUD APIs. After that, you will learn how to validate the data, sending errors, returning proper status code like 404 not found, 201 for success, etc. Also, additionally you will learn about middlewares and how to create own middlewares in Express, which is very helpful and advanced concept. Also, you will learn much more about Express. So after completing this crash course, you will get clarity and confidence for using Express. You will learn all these things step by step, so everything will clear to you and you can understand Express in details. So let's start with building RESTful APIs. But before that, do you know what is the difference between simple API and RESTful API? Let's quickly see that first. Now, as we know, API stands for Application Programming Interface, and it is the way for two programs communicate with each other. In simple words, API is used to transfer data between frontend to backend and backend to frontend. We already know that, right? Now you might ask, what is REST API? So REST API stands for Representational State Transfer API. REST API is a specific way of building our simple APIs. Don't worry about its name, it's very simple. So REST API is the same API, but we have to follow some rules to build that API. If we follow some rules, that simple API becomes REST API. Now let's see some rules which we have to follow to make REST API. One rule is we have to define separate API URL for each piece of data. For example, suppose we are creating API for user related operations like register a user, getting the information of single user, etc. In this case, our API should be our domain name and then /user for register. And if we want to get information about single user, then we create API URL like /user/123. Here, 123 is a user unique ID. Same as if we create API related to products, then our URL should be like this: /products/123/products/add to cart, etc. So by simply looking at this API URL, we get the basic idea related to our APIs, and by that we can easily do changes and our application stay clean. Another rule is different types of actions like reading, adding, updating or deleting data should use specific HTTP methods. Now you might ask, what are HTTP methods? So as we know, HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and it allows our frontend to request and receive web pages and other resources from servers using API. So only because of HTTP we are able to send and receive data from backend using API. Now this HTTP has 5 main methods: GET, POST, PUT, PATCH and DELETE. Let me explain you this one by one. First one is the GET method. We use GET method when we want to only get data from the server. For example, we want to get all users details, or we want to get all products details, or we want to get single product detail. In this case, we define our API with get method. For understanding these methods, we will use analogy of library. So get method is like asking a librarian to show you a book or multiple books. Don't worry about implementation, we will see all methods step by step in this section. Second, we have post method. We use post method when we want to post or send some data from frontend to create a new data in our server. For example, for register a new user, we have to send user data from the frontend and that will create a new data in our server. Think it's like we giving new book to librarian for add the book in library. Next we have put method. We use put method when we want to update an existing data on the server with new data. For example, if you change your profile information on a website and save it, then a put request is sent to update your profile with the new details. Think it's like giving librarian an updated version of a book to replace the old one. Next, we have patch method. We use patch method when we want to update a piece of small data, not entire data. For example, if we want to update just our email address in our profile without changing anything else, then a patch request can be used. Think it's like we are giving librarian just the updated pages of a book to update rather than replace the whole book. Imagine here we have user object in our server. We want to update complete this user object, then which method we will use? Right, we use put method. And if we want to update just the password of this user, then which method we will use? Right, we will use patch method. You are doing really great. So put method is used for whole data update and patch method is used for little update in the existing data. Now last method is delete. And you guessed correctly. We will use delete method for delete data from the server. For example, when we delete a post or a comment on social media, then a delete request is sent to remove it from the server. And for that, I don't think we need library analogy, right? And also, it is not practical. Think it's like asking librarian to remove a book from library. So you can see HTTP methods are very simple. We will use these 5 HTTP methods to define our different types of API. So these are just few rules we currently see, but don't worry, we will learn all these rules as we build APIs. Now you might ask why we need REST API, why we need to follow rules for building API. So by following any rules, we can make things organized. And that's true for REST API also. Rules will make our API more organized. Also, by following REST API rules, we create a simple and easy to use API because they use specific HTTP methods for doing specific types of work. Also, with rules, we can create a clean and maintainable API which any developers can understand and start working on them. For now, don't worry about rules. As I said, you will learn these rules while you create APIs. So let's start building our first Node.js project. I am very excited and I know you are too. Now before we start any project, it's better to roughly plan about that project. So as we know, our first project is about managing the task. And here how its front end looks like. Also, this is the first project of my React.js course and we will build this project backend as our first backend project. Don't worry, we are not going to create here frontend because our main focus is on the Node.js and building the best backend for our applications. From the frontend, we just need to call APIs. Now you might ask, how can we plan Node.js project? It is very simple. This is the method I used for planning my backend project, even big projects. Instead of building project first and then doing major modifications, it's better to spend little time on planning before we start our project. So for backend project, if we create a list of APIs, that's very useful because backend is almost all about APIs. So for this project, first we need the list of all to-dos. So one API for getting all to-dos. After that, we need to create API for adding a new task. And after that, we can update the single task details. So one API for updating the task. And at the end, we need to delete single to-do. So another API for delete specific task. So currently, we know we need these 4 APIs, and we will create 2-3 extra APIs for practice. If while building project we need to create more APIs, then we will create more APIs. There is nothing wrong about that. This is just a rough plan for reduce the confusion. Now let's create a fresh application for our project. So open the folder in which you want to create project, and I name it as task track. And simply open this folder in the VS Code. This is the name of our project. Is it sounds good? I hope it is. If you have better name, then you can also use it. It's totally up to you. Now what we have to do for creating Node.js applications? Do you remember? We just did that in our previous section. Yes, simply we open our terminal and initialize our project using npm init. And for all yes, we will use -y here. See, we get package.json file with some default config. Here we can see our main file is index.js, which is the file runs when we start our application. So let's create index.js file, and that's it. Here in this file, we will write code for our backend. So in the previous section, we create our server using HTTP module. And the problem with the HTTP module is we have to define our different API endpoints in this if and else if statements, which is not very clear and also not easy to maintain for big projects. So that's why we use very popular package or module called express.js. Express.js is minimal and flexible for creating better Node applications. In simple words, by using express.js, we can simplify our routes, we can easily handle HTTP request and response, middlewares, and much more things. Let me show you something. Here is the Express package on npm.js website. We can see its weekly downloads are almost 37.2 million, which is crazy. And almost in 90% of Node.js projects, developers use Express package. So it is very important to master Express, right? First of all, let's install this module in our project. So open up terminal and write npm install express. At the time I am recording this course, its latest version is 5.1.0. If you want to get the same experience as I am getting, then you can write here npm install express @5.1.0 and hit enter. Don't worry about Express, it is really simple package. Done. Now we want to use this Express module in this index.js file. Can you tell me what we have to do? Right, we will import the Express module using require function express, and this require function returns a function. So we simply store it in variable called express. Now to create an Express application, we call this Express function here, which returns a object, and we store it in variable called application or app. You can give it any other name, but probably all developers called it app. So let's go with app. Now in this app object, we get many useful methods. For example, we have here app.get, app.post, app.put, app.patch, app.delete, etc. Do you remember where we see these 5 methods? Right, they are HTTP methods for creating different types of API. So if we want to define our API for HTTP GET method, then we use app.get. If we want to define HTTP delete method, then we use app.delete. Same as we can create post, put and patch request. The way to define all these 5 methods are the same. Still, we will see all methods in this section one by one. For now, let's start with getRequest. So in this get method, at the first parameter, we have to write our API endpoint name. Suppose we want to define getAPI for URL http://localhost:3000/todos. Now what is our endpoint in this URL? Right, /todos is our API endpoint, and that's what we have to write here at the first parameter. Make sure we add here / first, otherwise this will not work properly. Now what if we want to define getAPI for URL http://localhost:3000, which is the root URL of our website. At that time, we can add here only /, which represents root endpoint. Now we have to define what will happen when our front end sends request to this endpoint. Do you remember? Let me show you. Here we pass callback function, and in this we get 2 objects, request and response. This request has all details about URL request, and with this response object we can send response related details. We already seen this in HTTP module lesson. Now what we want to send when someone sends request on this API? For now, we simply return a text response.send task track project. So when someone sends get request on this endpoint, this function will run and then it simply returns this text in response. Simple as that. So by these 2 lines, our Express server is created. But we have to run or listen this server on some port. If we don't listen our server, then our API will not work. So here at the end we write app.listen, and simply here we pass our port number, and at the second parameter we again pass callback function, which will run when our server started listening on this port. So here we can simply console.log server is running or listening on this port 3000. Save the changes and let's run our index.js file. Write node index.js. See, server is listening on this port 3000. Nice. Now back to browser and run localhost 3000, which is the root URL, and see, here we get task track project text, which we send from our server. You can see Express makes our code really simple. We can compare our current code with the previous HTTP module code. Express makes it really simple. Also, this is our first API, that's why we return only text in response. Now as we move forward in our project, real thrill will start. Now let's create API for getting all to-dos list. Can you tell me which HTTP method we have to use? Right, for getting the data from the server, we use getHTTP method. So here we write app.get, and let's say we want to give this API name todos. So we pass here /todos, and after that at the second parameter we pass callback function, which has 2 parameters, request and response. See, for all APIs this structure will stay the same. Only this HTTP method change, this endpoint change, and logic inside this callback function will change. That's how Express.js makes our project simple and clean. Now currently we are not going to work with the database because we don't want to add extra complexity for our first project. We will learn all these things step by step, so don't worry about database. Now here we have to send all to-dos array. So at the top I define one dummy data called to-dos array, and simply add some to-dos in this. So here every to-do is object with 4 properties. ID, let's set it to 1. Task, which is the text of task, let's say create all APIs for project 1. Tags, which are the tags related to task, which is an array, Node.js, comma, JavaScript, and status to do. These properties ID, task, tags, status is defined by Node.js developer, which means you. What you want to call it, how many properties you need, these things you have to decide based on which data we want to store and which data we don't want. Now let's duplicate this object 2 more times using Shift plus Alt plus down arrow or Shift plus Option plus down arrow. Now we change this ID to 2, task to create API for list of all to-dos, tags, Node.js, and status to doing. And at last, we simply change ID to 3, task to plan project 1, tags, JavaScript, and status to done. Now we want to simply return this array as a response when someone sends GET request to API with /todos endpoint. So what we write here? We write response.send and simply pass our to-dos array. Save the changes and let's verify this API is working or not. Open terminal, close the current running server using Ctrl+C and again run this file. Now in the browser, at the place of root website, we simply call /todos endpoint. See, here we get our array. So that's how simple to send data from the backend using GET API. Now currently, when we do some change in our project, we have to close our previous running server and restart our application, which is really annoying. So for automatically restart our application, we have one package called NodeMon. It is really useful. So open up terminal and write npm install or i-g NodeMon. Here we use -g for installing this NodeMon package globally. Otherwise, we have to install NodeMon in every Node project. Also, if you are using Mac, then for installing global package, you have to write sudo at the beginning of the command and then it will ask for system password. Now how can we run file using NodeMon? Let me show you. So in the terminal, previously we are running file using node index.js. Now for NodeMon, we write NodeMon index.js. Simple as that. See, here we get our NodeMon version and for restarting, we can enter rs. Also, it is telling us watching path period, which means root of this project. After that, it is watching extensions like JS, MJS, CJS, JSON, etc. So any file which have this type of extensions, NodeMon is constantly watching those files, and if something change in those files, it will restart our application. And at the end, see, NodeMon is also running command node index.js. So by using NodeMon, we don't have to restart our application. It will automatically restart when we change something in those files with those extensions. Now currently, we are manually setting the port of our server, but in the real world, that port is set by environment in which our application is running. Specifically, it's managed by the hosting provider or development platforms like Render, Heroku, AWS, etc. So when we deploy our application on these platforms, our 3000 port might be already used by another server. At that time, if we hard-coded our port, then our server will not run on that port and it will give us error in the deployment. So what is the solution here? It is really simple. We will check one condition. If in our application environment port variable is defined, then we use that port variable, else we use our hard-coded port. Let me show you, it is really simple. So here, before we listen our server, we create a variable called port equals to. Now here, how can we check our server has port in its environment or not? So for that, we have one object called process.env. This env is for environment. In this environment, we get all variables which are set by hosting platforms, and .port for port variable. So if any hosting platform want to set different port, then they will store them in this process.env.port variable. That's common convention. Also, all environment variable name is all capital letters, and that's why we also give this variable name as all capital port. So just by looking at it, we know it can be environment variable. Now if this process.env.port is available, then no issue. But if it is not available or set, then we have to pass our hard-coded port value. So we add here OR operator, which is bar symbol 2 times. It is the key above enter or return. And here we pass our port, which is 3000. Now let's pass this port variable at the place of this hard-coded port, and also we will change this console message. Let's make this string as template string using backticks, because in template strings we can easily access variable and change this 3000 with $curly brackets port. So if this environment port is available, then we use it, or if it is false or null, then we use this 3000 port. Simple as that. Currently in our application, environment port is not set. That's why our application will run continuously on port 3000. Don't worry if you are little confused about this process.env. We will see it in details in the upcoming projects. Now let me give you one shortcut for setting up Node application. First, required express, create express application, create this port variable using this expression, and listening the express application on the port. These 4 things will stay the same in all Node applications. Yes, we can add more functionality in other lines, but nothing will change in these 4 lines. Previously, we created API for get.
Baiklah, sekian saja pembelajaran mandirinya yang saya lakukan pada video kali ini. Saya akhiri, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.